I feel honored to officiate at this occasion as we gather to commission the Marimba Flats project and launch the Zimbabwe National Human Settlements Policy. As you are aware, we fought the protracted war of liberation in order to regain our nationhood and correct the wrongs of the colonial regime and improve the quality of life of our people, including enhancing access to decent and affordable housing. In highlighting this commitment, my government set up a dedicated Ministry of National Housing and Social Amenities to spearhead the development of modern and affordable urban and rural settlements and social amenities in a coordinated and sustainable manner. The ministry is also tasked with addressing the institutional, regulatory, and technical weaknesses across the housing sector in our country. This dovetails with the tenets of international, continental, and regional bodies with respect to the provision of modern, affordable, sustainable, and climate-proofed shelter. Inclusive, safe, and sustainable cities and human settlements are also being encouraged in accordance with the national aspirations articulated by Vision 2030, as well as the African Union Agenda 2063 and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals relating to housing and shelter. This enhances the quality of life of our people and significantly contributes towards sustainable economic growth. You have been told by the Minister of Housing, Honorable Garwe, that we have in excess of 1.2 million deficit in housing in this country. My government has taken decision to address that deficit. My government is accelerating the provision of houses and the social amenities to all sections of society, including, like today, the health sector, for these 2 blocks constructed for our young doctors as they pursue their careers. Numerous new housing projects and others which had stalled are being completed across the entire country, and we shall be commissioning them as we go on. Success of the program is being further accelerated through collaboration and coordinated efforts from various stakeholders. I'm happy that our financial service sector in the country has come to the table to assist in the construction of houses in this country. These housing development projects are therefore being implemented through funding both from Treasury as well as local and international private sector participation. Through the application of new building technologies, my government targets ensuring optimal utilization of resources in terms of time, cost, and job creation. This strategy will see the reduction of the national housing backlog in not a distant future. Ladies and gentlemen, the Marimba Flats project I'm commissioning today comprises of 2 medium-density blocks. I commend the Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities for successfully completing this project at a time the country and the world over are grappling with the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. These housing units are being allocated to medical junior doctors who form part of our frontline workers in the fight against the pandemic and are a key cog in our quest to achieve universal health coverage. The provision of such institutional accommodation is part of my government's commitment to avail non-monetary incentives for the sterling efforts that medical personnel continue to make towards ensuring the well-being of all citizens countrywide. Following the unfortunate fire incident that gutted the doctor's residence at Mpilo Hospital in Bulawayo, and my subsequent visit to assess the damage, it is commendable that the reconstruction and modernization of the affected blocks are now almost complete in Bulawayo. Over and above this project, plans are also at an advanced stage for the construction of institutional accommodation for other doctors, nurses, and health workers in all major hospitals across the country. Phase 1 of this project comprises the construction of several blocks of flats, shopping malls, and other recreational facilities at Sali Mugabe and Ingucheni hospitals in Harare and Bulawayo, respectively. Therefore, the project will cascade to other provincial and district hospitals under Phase 2 and Phase 3 of our planning. My government, through the Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, has also embarked on a house program dedicated for public servants, with discussions on financing modalities already at an advanced stage. The process must be speeded up to ensure that the housing program begins in earnest. This way, our dedicated public servants will be guaranteed of decent accommodation commensurate with their strategic national importance in our country. As we journey towards the Vision 2030, my government has already embarked on the concept of developing smart cities throughout the country. The relevant ministries, departments, and agencies must speed up the identification of suitable land for these programs. The Ministry of Housing, National Housing and Social Amenities has already identified Melford in Mashonaland East to develop a smart city. At the same time, and in a bid to give dignity to disadvantaged section of our society, urban regeneration of degrading colonially established suburbs such as Mbare, Makokova, Sakubva, and Mutapa, among others, is being pursued with vigor and tenacity. In these and other areas, provision of small and medium enterprises workspaces is being prioritized. We are going to pull down the colonial structures in Mbare, Makokova, Sakubva, and Mtapa. The Second Republic will have no stone unturned towards restoring order, dignity, and access to basic services and social amenities to our deserving people. The setting up of the Uchena Commission and its findings and recommendations were indeed informed by this resolve. This is also in line with government's thrust of addressing the inadequacies of existing infrastructure to cater for the demands of the growing population. Processes are thus underway for the regularization of dysfunctional and irregular settlements in urban areas. Furthermore, my administration is doing everything necessary to ensure that the land barons who illegally set up these settlements and are sold or parceled out state land to unsuspecting home seekers are brought to account. This sort of behavior contradicts the values and ethos of the Second Republic. These name-dropping, so-called politically connected illegal state land authorities will not be tolerated under the Second Republic. They cheat our people, dropping the names of leaders. This must stop. The long arm of the law will surely catch up with them. Comrades and friends, my government has laid down the foundation for coordinated forward planning and timeless implementation of housing programs, including provision of the requisite ancillary infrastructure. Let me therefore take this opportunity to launch the Zimbabwe National Human Settlements Policy. It is a culmination of wide consultations with various stakeholders across the country, 10 provinces. The policy provides guidance on all human settlement developments in the country and addresses issues concerning the provision of both on-site and off-site infrastructure prior to construction of housings. The lack of supervision on parallel development, among other concerns, is also addressed by this policy. It also takes into account the impact of dysfunctional settlements, the land barons' scourge, as well as the issue of spatial planning, densification and adoption of appropriate technologies, including modern housing structures adapted to climate change and resilience. The new policy extends the scope of housing beyond urban and peri-urban centers to rural and farming communities. In this regard, I urge farmers to use their earnings from the last successful cropping season to modernize and improve the quality of their household infrastructure and amenities at farms. This will enhance the attractiveness of our rural communities, stem rural to urban migration, and promote further development of rural industry systems as we seek to industrialize our rural areas. The National Human Settlements Policy further captures government's preference for the development of flats as opposed to stand-alone units. Vertical construction reduces the scourge of urban sprawl and maximizes on the effective use of land available for urban expansion, as densification significantly reduces the cost of providing on-site and off-site infrastructure. The full implementation of the Human Settlements Policy must drive the country on a path to an orderly and a well-built environment. I therefore exhort local authorities and other players in the human settlements value chain to acquaint themselves with the policy and also begin to implement it with urgency. Ladies and gentlemen, the housing sector is open for business. A boom in the built environment invariably triggers sector-related manufacturing activities in this sector. These include in upstream and downstream linkages, such as the production supply of aggregates, cement, timber, iron and steel, chemicals, electrical machinery, and apparatus, as well as financial and real estate services. It also provides an immediate impact on job and wealth creation. Skilled artisans, women and the youth. I therefore invite domestic and international investors to consider Zimbabwe as a destination of choice when making real estate investment decisions. The Second Republic, through its engagement and re-engagement drive, has already created an investor-friendly business environment. In the same vein, I also encourage the establishment of non-physical housing development financing mechanisms such as public-private partnerships and joint ventures. I am pleased that our financial institutions, pensions and provident funds, and some corporate players are participating in the housing delivery agenda. I call upon the building societies and the financial services sector in general to provide mortgages and other financing options at affordable rates. It is pleasing to note that Shelter Afrique, a pan-African financial institution of which my government is a signatory, has committed funding for various projects in the country, and these include establishment of Shelter Afrique regional headquarters in Harare, establishment of a building technology plant in Harare in partnership with the government of Zimbabwe. Availing of lines of credit to our local banks for the funding of social housing projects and construction of housing units in the country. We commend this show of confidence and support by Shelter Afrique. I have mandated, Minister Gary, come here. We minister very dedicated to housing. Cabinet will support him, and we have projects in every single town in the housing projects. With these remarks, I would like now to hand over these 2 blocks to the Vice President and the Minister of Health. Tiri kuvaka kuno, tiri kuvaka kuchinoi, tiri kuvaka Mukwekwe, tiri kuvaka Mugweru, tiri kuvaka Bulawayo, tiri kuvaka Mutare. Dokumasingo. Kuti vanachiremba vawane pokugara pakanaka. So I now declare the Marimba Flats project commissioned and handed over to the Minister of Health and Child Care, Dr. Chiwenga. I thank you. Zimbabwe National Human Settlements Policy, DOE. Ndo kwatiri kwenda huko. Kwatiri kwenda kunodaru nyararo kuwirana nokubatana. Vava nemoya emirizhonga. Vanemoya ya region. Vakwanisi kufamba nesu tichivakanyika. Tatenda.